Have you ever wondered about the ancient civilizations that once inhabited Colombia, long before the arrival of the Spanish? Let's take a journey back in time to an era of rich cultures, astounding artistic expressions, and marvels of architecture. The Muisca, Quimbaya, Tairona, and Xenu peoples, each with their unique societal structures, religious beliefs, and technological advancements, painted a vibrant tapestry of life in pre-Columbian Colombia. The Muisca, for example, were famed for their gold work, a testament to their artistic prowess. The Quimbaya, on the other hand, were renowned for their intricate ceramic and metalwork. Tairona's impressive terrace cities, nestled in the Sierra Nevada de Santa Marta Mountains, are a testament to their architectural genius. Meanwhile, the Xenu mastered the art of weaving and created intricate gold filigree. These civilizations laid the foundation for the rich and diverse Colombian culture we see today. How did Colombia change with the arrival of Spanish explorers in the early 16th century? This query takes us back to an era of exploration, conquest, and transformation. When Spanish explorers first set foot on Colombian soil, they found a land rich in gold, emeralds, and a diversity of indigenous cultures. The lure of these riches ignited a conquest that would forever change the face of Colombia. Spanish conquistadors, led by the likes of Gonzalo Jiménez de Quesada, set out to subdue the indigenous peoples of this new land. The Muisca, Quimbaya, Tairona, and Xenu, among others, faced immense pressure as they were forced to submit to Spanish rule. This brutal conquest led to a drastic reduction in the indigenous population, forever altering the cultural landscape of Colombia. But the Spanish conquest was not only about subjugation. It also brought a wave of colonial administration that laid the groundwork for modern-day Colombia. The Spanish founded cities such as Cartagena, Bogotá, and Santa Marta, which would become pivotal centers of trade, administration, and culture. These cities, built on the backs of indigenous peoples and African slaves, were designed in the Spanish style, with grand cathedrals, plazas, and government buildings. They became the heart of Spanish colonial life, echoing the power and influence of the Spanish Empire halfway across the world. The Spanish conquest forever altered the landscape of Colombia, setting the stage for centuries of colonial rule. This transformation, though marked by violence and oppression, laid the foundation for the multicultural, vibrant Colombia we know today. What was Colombia's role in the Spanish Empire? Now that's a question with a rich tale behind it. Let's dive into the world of the Viceroyalty of New Granada. This was a period when Colombia, and other parts of South America, were under the control of the Spanish Empire. The region was of immense economic importance, with its abundance of gold, silver, and emeralds turning it into a treasure trove that fueled the Spanish economy. But it wasn't just about material wealth. The Viceroyalty of New Granada was also a cultural and spiritual hub. The Spanish, with their strong Catholic roots, profoundly influenced Colombian society and culture. Churches and cathedrals sprang up across the landscape, becoming centers of social and religious life. Catholicism seeped into the fabric of everyday life, shaping values, traditions, and even the Colombian worldview. Colombia's wealth and strategic importance made it a key player in the Spanish Empire. How did Colombia gain its independence from Spain? This question takes us to the early 19th century, a time when the winds of freedom were blowing across the Americas. Colombia was not immune to this call for independence. The struggle for freedom was spearheaded by revolutionary figures, notably Simon Bolivar and Francisco de Paula Santander. Bolivar, often referred to as the Liberator, played a crucial role in the fight against Spanish rule, leading several successful military campaigns. Santander, on the other hand, was instrumental in establishing the political and administrative foundation of the newly independent state. Their combined efforts, along with the support of countless others, culminated in the formation of Gran Colombia. This was a short-lived republic that included present-day Colombia, Ecuador, Panama, and Venezuela. Although Gran Colombia eventually dissolved due to regional tensions, its legacy lived on. The struggle for independence was a pivotal moment in Colombia's history, leading to the creation of a new nation. What challenges did Colombia face after gaining independence? Well, the newly formed nation of Colombia experienced a turbulent period of civil wars, political instability, and regional conflicts in the 19th and early 20th centuries. It was as if the nation was caught in an unending cycle of power struggles and territorial disputes. From the War of a Thousand Days to the conservative-liberal conflicts, the country was often torn apart by opposing factions. Each conflict was a battle for control, an attempt to establish political dominance and shape the future of Colombia. The War of a Thousand Days, for example, was a devastating civil war fought between the liberal and conservative parties, resulting in the death of nearly 100,000 people. These wars and conflicts were not just about power, they were also about identity, about defining what Colombia should be and who should guide it. These conflicts left deep scars on the nation, setting the stage for future struggles. What was La Violencia, and how did it shape Colombia's history? Picture a decade of political violence, from 1948 to 58, a time etched in the annals of history as La Violencia. It was ignited by the assassination of a charismatic liberal leader, Jorge Eliezer Gaitan. His death sent shockwaves through the nation, leading to violent civil unrest and bloody conflicts between liberal and conservative factions. As the political landscape disintegrated, the countryside bore the brunt of the turmoil. Armed peasant groups emerged, defending their lands and livelihoods against escalating violence. This period also saw the rise of paramilitary organizations, a response to the growing insecurity. These groups would later play a significant role in the country's ongoing conflicts. La Violencia resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands, while displacing countless more. It was a dark, tumultuous period in Colombia's history that shaped its political and social fabric. La Violencia was a dark period in Colombia's history, but it also led to significant political and social changes. How did guerrilla movements influence Colombia's history? Let's dive into the murky depths of Colombia's conflict period. In the mid-20th century, socio-political tensions sparked the rise of guerrilla movements like the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC, and the National Liberation Army, or ELN. These groups, initially fueled by ideologies of social justice and political change, later became entangled in the lucrative drug trade. The intertwining of insurgency and drug trafficking fostered a volatile environment of violence and corruption. As these guerrilla movements grew, they carved out territories, waged war against the state, and even controlled parts of the national economy. This period was marked by a surge in kidnapping, bombing, and other forms of violence that deeply scarred the Colombian society. The Colombian conflict has had a profound impact on the country, affecting all aspects of life. How has Colombia sought to build peace after decades of conflict? After years of unrest and violence, Colombia began to seek a resolution. Its government initiated peace negotiations with various guerrilla groups, aiming to end the long-standing conflict that had devastated the nation. One of the most significant peace agreements was with the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, or FARC. This group had been a major player in the conflict, so their agreement to lay down their arms was a monumental step towards peace. The peace accord, signed in 2016 by President Juan Manuel Santos and FARC leader Rodrigo Londono, outlined a plan for the demobilization of FARC fighters. These former combatants were to be reintegrated into society, a process that has been fraught with challenges, but also filled with hope. It's a testament to the resilience and determination of the Colombian people. The peace process has been a challenging but necessary step towards a more stable and peaceful Colombia. What role has drug trafficking played in Colombia's history? As we journey through Colombia's past, we can't sidestep the dark chapter of drug trafficking. In the late 20th century, Colombia emerged as a major producer and exporter of cocaine. This illicit trade, driven by high global demand, led to the rise of powerful drug cartels, such as the notorious Medellin and Cali cartels. These criminal organizations amassed enormous wealth and wielded significant influence, often resorting to violence and corruption to protect their interests. In response, the Colombian government, backed by international allies, launched a concerted effort to combat drug trafficking. They implemented stringent law enforcement measures, extradited cartel leaders, and pursued strategies to disrupt drug production and distribution networks. However, these efforts often led to further violence and social disruption, creating a complex and ongoing challenge. The war on drugs continues to be a major challenge for Colombia, with far-reaching social and political implications. What challenges and opportunities does Colombia face today? As we step into the present, Colombia grapples with a myriad of contemporary challenges. Poverty remains a pressing concern, with a large segment of the population still living below the poverty line. This is further compounded by inequality, resulting in a considerable wealth gap. Corruption, another long-standing issue, undermines the public's trust in institutions and hampers economic development. It's a complex problem that requires persistent efforts to combat. Simultaneously, Colombia is also confronted with human rights abuses. These range from violence against social leaders and indigenous communities to the forced displacement of people due to ongoing conflicts. Moreover, the beautiful landscapes of Colombia face the threat of environmental degradation. Deforestation, pollution, and climate change are just a few of the challenges that put Colombia's rich biodiversity at risk. Yet, despite these obstacles, Colombia is not without opportunities. The nation is in the midst of implementing post-conflict reconciliation and development initiatives. These programs aim to heal the wounds of the past and foster a more inclusive society. Colombia also has the chance to harness its abundant natural resources and cultural heritage to boost sustainable development and tourism. Investments in education and technology could further drive economic growth and reduce inequality. Despite these challenges, Colombia continues to strive towards a more peaceful and prosperous future. The journey is tough, but with determination and resilience, Colombia is making strides towards overcoming these challenges.